Exodus is very likely getting cancelled. Shocking, I know. If only someone would have expected this. I'm personally shocked. You're telling me that rip-off Mass Effect extremely low game headed by one of the worst gaming companies ever to exist, aka Wizards of the Coast, is somehow not working out? Unbelievable! After all of the trailers where we saw more political messaging than actually game, you're telling me that is not working out? You're telling me people are unhappy and the CEOs are leaving? Wow! I'm shocked, I tell you. I'm absolutely no, I'm not shocked at all. This was all predictable. Now, granted, I personally hope Exodus happens because it's gonna be a financial disaster, and every single financial disaster that happens makes me smile if it involves Wizards of the Coast, because that company is beyond incompetent, is beyond unlikable, and is absolutely one of the worst things ever to happen in gaming. They have ruined pretty much everything they have touched. They try to make every single thing that they get their hands on some kind of political messaging. They don't care about making games. They care about statements. And not the fun kind of statements, not the good kind of statements. The statements that literally not even 5% of the population support. Not even 1% of the population honestly supports them. The modern audience is... Well, they're not even getting the modern audience. That's the worst part, okay? All 5 of the modern audience people don't even want what Wizards is selling.
Well, lords and ladies, we have some very unfortunate news to report for anyone with any interest in Exodus. And as many of you know, I've been talking about Exodus for a very long time. I have, well, I guess hitherto had a lot of interest in the game. Some things have thrown me off here and there, but nothing will prepare you for the news today.
I am the them day aliens. What are your preferred pronouns?
I guess, because what's happened is very strange indeed, and I'm getting this from an article in Bloomberg, written by
Yeah, I mean, this is
Cole and Bloomberg.
This is literally
Written
what Exodus is all about. Beautiful.
by none other than the legendary Jason Schreier, who
Legendary.
I guess you could say at least is a good games journalist. I don't know. But we'll talk about this. It's basically about James Olin, who is the co-founder and essentially the head honcho of Archetype Entertainment, the ultimate brain power behind the game of Exodus, who is stepping down from his position to become a consultant and work on tabletop. Now, we'll talk all about that in a bit. The article is very short, so I'll read through it. Hasbro Inc., the toy and gaming company, is bringing in a new executive to lead the
Hasbro is Wizards of the Coast, by the way, if you're wondering.
expanding video game effort under its Wizards of the Coast label. Blizzard veteran and Dreamhaven Inc. co-founder Paul Della Bitta.
Oh boy! A Blizzard veteran. Oh boy, that gets me excited. Like the, I don't know, 5 other game studios that Blizzard veterans made, starting from WildStar, ending to, I don't actually even remember what, but, you know, the Riot MMO with that guy. Yeah, I have so much trust in ex-Blizzard developers. Wow.
Will take over the Wizards of the Coast Digital Ventures division under Wizards president John Haidt, also a Blizzard veteran, Hasbro said in a statement to Bloomberg on Wednesday. James Olin, co-founder...
Okay, if you're thinking, oh wow, Wizards of the Coast is in real problems because now their CEO is someone from Blizzard. Their last CEO was a woman who sold Marlboro cigarettes. And I'm not even joking. I am literally being serious here. Their last CEO for a toy company was a woman with literally 0 experience who previously worked at Marlboro. So, some failure from Blizzard is beyond a step up, honestly, at this point.
The company's Archetype Entertainment studio, developer of the upcoming game Exodus.
Oh, I love this so much. The stuff that we see, like, look at this. Diversity is our strength, okay? It truly is. If this doesn't prove it to you, you know what? You know what? Listen, we're representing blacks, Asians, you know, Latinx, all of that stuff. But why aren't we need a little bit of those gypsies, you know? Indians. Where the gypsies at, bruh? Okay, we need to represent more.
Coming game Exodus will step aside. Quote, at this stage, James felt his work on the game was complete and that the polishing and tuning were in great hands with the
Surely.
team, said Abby Hodes, vice president of the corporate communications for Hasbro in the statement. Hodes added that Olin had, quote, asked to shift his creative focus to tabletop role-playing games. It would stay on as a creative consultant for the company.
God damn it! It's just this is unironically the game. This is unironically the quality.
It would stay
Okay.
on as a creative consultant.
Is this the thumbnail? I think this is the thumbnail, boys. Wait, give me a second. Daddy's working. Okay. Let me save that thumbnail. Oh my god. You don't even have to try any longer. It's just the quality is so low, you don't even need to try.
Consultant for the company. Exodus, a sci-fi role-playing game that has been in development since 2019, is one of Hasbro's many ambitious bets in the video game.
This is the young female alien that is probably the key to everything because everyone can predict the slop.
Hasbro's many ambitious bets in the video game space.
I close my eyes and I think about Exodus and I can see the slop pipeline. I can see exactly its plan, its layout, the amount of slop it's pumping. It is beautiful. It is so disgusting.
The game has been delayed several times and is now slated for release in early 2027, the company said last week. The intellectual property for Exodus was established such that it could be not just a base for video games, but a bunch of other things as well, Archetype co-founder and general manager Chad Robertson said in an interview last week. He called it the tip of the spear for Hasbro's entry in.
Yeah. I mean, Hasbro is literally pretty much desperate at almost everything because they had some really big success with Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings. And then they had massive success with the Final Fantasy thing. And now, after it, it's been failure after failure after failure because people are just tired of it. I mean, the Spider-Man set completely botched. And Wizards of the Coast actually sent out a questionnaire for people, and they're like, hey, did you not buy the Spider-Man set because of a YouTuber? And if so, can you please point them out so we can maybe not sue them, but probably sue them? They are trying to find excuses wherever they can. It is pathetic.
Two big budget.
Listen, if you don't know, their last game died in less than 2 hours. That's a record. They spent multiple millions on promotions through streamers on Twitch, and most of them just sat AFK in a town and read their chat because they didn't want to play the game. It was diabolically bad.
Games. Video games are expensive endeavors, with the biggest projects costing hundreds of millions of dollars, but they can be lucrative. Hasbro's Baldur's Gate 3, which was made by the external developer Larian Studios, has sold more than 20 million copies. Last week, Hasbro also announced a Dungeons & Dragons game called Warlock, which I will be talking about in the not too
whoa, I need to write that down.
Distant future, by the way. Earlier this year, the company said it would partner with Stig Asmussen, director of EA's hit Star Wars Jedi action game.
I do not know anything about any D&D game called Warlock, but if it's by Wizards, it's gonna be garbage. I want a piece of that.
Develop a different action game in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. Okay, if you're picking up on things like I am, then you might have noticed a lot of corpo speak. I mean, the way the article is framed, the way they talk about things, you know, you have the actual...
If you have been picking up, by the way, Spill and Shield, I like the channel, I'm not gonna lie, but the absolute unreasonable fate and complete inability, or just probably blatantly just he doesn't want to, look at the facts that Exodus is gonna be a dumpster fire is really astonishing.
Corporate communications person telling us that James felt his work on the game was complete and that the polishing and tuning were in great hands with the team. I mean, that's corpo speak. You can hear it, you can sniff it, it's right there. Now, it is true that James Olin, before joining Archetype Entertainment, was basically semi-retired. I know that he still worked on a bunch of modules and tabletop stuff for D&D, or at least 20 die set rules games, and he really is into tabletop. That is a fact. And for those who don't know, it is true. Exodus has already a tabletop game. I own some of the books. It's very well produced. It's very well illustrated. It's very well written. There's a lot of lore there, tons of lore. I love the lore. And so it's a thing, for sure. Exodus tabletop exists, and I mean, James is, I think, well suited for that, ultimately. Which is fine, by the way. But we also need to get down to brass tacks. And I'm the first one who's going to say this is not a good look. It is not a good look when the co-founder, and arguably
The whole game is not a good look.
the founder, the brain power, the guy who came up with the basic idea, when he decides to step down as head of the studio and decides to take on an ancillary role as a consultant and work on some tabletop stuff, I don't care what they say or claim. Oh, they're polishing the game. It's basically done. Everything is fine. I don't buy that for a second. There's something that went wrong. There's something amiss. Now, there are a lot of layers here. We know, for example, that Olin had claimed originally that Hasbro, or Wizards of the Coast, had given him an ironclad agreement that he would have all the creative power and they would not interfere.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast are never actually gonna do that. If they do that, it's probably not in writing and they're lying, and they're just gonna sue you if you try to object. That would be my guess, honestly. Now, it's a complete speculation. Granted, I have no proof of this. I'm just saying, from everything that Wizards of the Coast has done, there is no such thing as creative freedom after Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, Larian had some creative freedom, because Wizards of the Coast just thought, oh, it's free money because they just bought the IP rights and we're gonna get a cut of it. It's fine. We don't care what they're doing because this is not gonna be successful. And yeah, bam, there you go.
So I'm spitballing here, but maybe they did decide to interfere and he decided to walk off to a different venture. I don't really know.
They 100% decide to interfere. That would be my guess. Again, it's like from just the history of what Wizards of the Coast have done as a company in the past, I don't know, decade, it's been just disastrous decision. Again, they literally care about messaging more than actually even having a company or product. They are doing everything that they can wrong in pretty much all accounts possible.
It's possible, but this is not a good look. It's not normal for the head of a studio that's invested so much time and energy
Yep.
into a brand new project, into sci-fi, which is something he's been wanting to make for a very long time because he's gone on record that is Olin.
No. It's just not normal for a CEO to just quit the game when and say, "Oh, it's actually almost finished, so I'm gonna just magically step down for no reason."
As saying he was tired of fantasy after having done so many games and modules for tabletop in fantasy settings. He said that sci-fi, yeah, this is the thing. And yet he's gone apparently. He's not gone, he's a consultant, I get it, but he's not the head of the studio. And he seems to have been effectively replaced by Paul Della Bitta, who's best known.
Here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this attire. Okay, imagine that this can. Imagine that Exodus can go worse than this, and that's probably what's gonna happen.
Replaced by Paul Della Bitta, who's best known for stuff at Blizzard and who worked on World of Warcraft. That's his claim to fame.
Okay. Listen, I am Paul Della Vita Blizzard. Let's see if I can actually get something. Paul Della Vita, what a name. Okay, Paul Della Vita LinkedIn account, eh? What a giga chad. Actually see nothing. Okay. Paul Della Vita Warcraft wiki. Okay, this is what I want to actually see. After the release of Warcraft, he and Matt Kassan pitched the Blizzard CEO. Dude, there's nothing about this guy. All the bit work is history. Is that his name? Additionally, Paul contributed to the successful Super Play games as president and Blizzard Entertainer, as blah blah blah, director, blah 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 blah. That's not what I want. About Us, Dreamhaven. Hasbro tabs Blizzard veteran is new. Why can't I find his history? Even LinkedIn doesn't show anything. What is this? What is this? I'm gonna share the screen. It's gonna be a flashbang, so you know, close your eyes, I guess. What is this? This is the guy. This is the guy. Activities, most active things. There's nothing. There's just nothing. This is the right guy. This is literally the right guy. There's nothing, and there's nothing. Google finds nothing about him. Like, what the hell did he even do? I kind of wanted to find some bad news about what he actually worked at. There's just some kind of shitty Bloomberg articles and a bunch of useless garbage. I have no idea what this guy, Paul Blizzard, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's just like, who is this dude? That's so crazy. Paul Della beat just nothing. Paul Della. Oh, IMDb. There we go. His IMDb is one World of Warcraft, and that's it. No, there's no way that that's his real name. But even AI I'm so confused.
Not much experience with action RPGs as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it's very strange indeed. There's no way this is good news. Now, there are people who are coping. There's a lot of copium saying it's not a big deal. It's still in good hands.
I mean, the people who looked at anything Exodus related and said, wow, this looks promising, they were already coping hard. And you're telling me people are coping even harder now? That's impressive.
And, you know, they're just working on polishing the game. But there have been a number of disconcerting signs, ultimately, that we have borne witness to. The fact that they only gave a very vague release date of 2027, the fact that they have been working on this game since 2019.
Wait, what? 2019? That's 6 years, 8 years.
That is technically then an 8-year development cycle. That is too long. Larian only needed, it's a lot of time, but only needed 6 years to make Baldur's Gate 3. So what are they doing exactly? I
think they're just being incompetent. In any case, I mean, we all knew that Exodus is going to be a disaster, no matter honestly what happens or how it happens. And here we are. Exodus is a disaster. Now, granted, it's probably not going to get shut down, but again, you know how these things happen. The changing of the CEO is a shutdown of sorts, because new direction, 8 years into development, or 7, or however many, 6. Man, it's not good. It's not good. It's horrible, in fact. So, whatever Exodus was, it's probably going to be less of that, and it's going to be worse. So, it's not exactly shutting down, but I mean, it's close to it. Anyway, that was Spell and Shield. Hopefully he honestly just stops thinking that, oh, Exodus has it. No, it doesn't. Exodus looks, by all accounts, literally worse than Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And that did look extremely bad. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.